Steam Club friends, it's Miss Kathy. This week we have some fun experiments and activities using milk. Are you ready? For the first experiment, you will need some milk and some vinegar. Half a cup of milk, pour it in a bowl, and 4 teaspoons of vinegar. And then you're going to put the vinegar into the milk and you're going to stir it up. And you should see almost right away some changes to the milk. It starts to thicken and get a little separated. And then once you do this and get it all stirred up, you're going to have to wait about 10 minutes for the next step of the experiment. Now that the 10 minutes are up, you should see that your solution has separated somewhat. You have a liquidy clear bit and you have a little bit more solidy, not quite solid, white bit. So for the next part, you're going to need either a measuring cup or another bowl, a strainer, and a coffee filter. And you're going to pour the milk and vinegar mix in to the strainer with the coffee filter lining, and you're going to let the liquid separate from the solid part, and that's going to take a few minutes again. So read a book and come back in a few minutes and see what you've got. So now my mixture has strained a little bit, and you can see all this yellowish liquid in the bottom of the cup. That is the whey, and what's left are the curds. Just like little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey, we have created curds and whey. It's kind of like homemade cottage cheese. It probably doesn't taste as good because it's sour because of the vinegar, but you could taste it. It won't hurt you. It's just milk and vinegar. So what you have left is basically the milk solids, the proteins of the milk, called casein. And you're able to separate them from the whey because of the vinegar. And if you want, you could let it drain a little bit more so it becomes a little bit thicker. You could then mold it like Play-Doh, let it harden, turn it into a decoration or something, and that is curds and whey. For our next experiment, you're going to need some small containers, some milk, some dish soap, some food color, and a toothpick. Start by pouring a little bit of milk into your container, just enough to cover the bottom of the container. Don't need too much. And then you're going to add, go away, Bubble. You're going to add a drop of food coloring. Don't need a lot. And you can see the food coloring's not going anywhere. It's just sitting right in the middle of your milk. And then you're going to put a drop of dish soap onto your toothpick and then put it right in the middle of your food coloring and see what happens. The food coloring and the milk tried to move away from the dish soap. Add another color and see what happens. A fun activity you can do when you finish the experiment with the food coloring and the milk is to make your own marbled paper. You can take a fork and swirl the colors around a little bit and then dip a piece of paper into the milk mixture and then lay it down on some newspaper to dry, and you have some cool marbled paper. Our last activity is going to take some effort, but at the end, you'll be able to eat it. You're going to need a jar with a lid, a measuring cup, some whipping cream, and optional, a little bit of salt. If you have a larger jar, you can use the whole container of whipping cream. But my jar is not so big. A larger jar, I mean like a mayonnaise jar. So I'm going to use a cup of whipping cream. And I'm going to pour it in my clean jar. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Again, the salt is optional. You don't need it, but it tastes a little bit better. And then make sure your lid is on tight, and you're going to shake. And you're going to shake and shake and shake for a long time, at least 10, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes. Get some other people in your family to help you shake. And in the end, you should end up with some butter. So keep shaking, keep shaking. Okay, so I've been shaking for about 10 minutes or so, and my shaking went through a couple of different stages. In the middle stage, the whole jar looked white, and you couldn't even hear anything shake anymore. And I kept shaking, and now you can hear a bit of a sloshing, and you got kind of a watery liquid, and I can hear a little lumpy. So the next step is to pour out all the liquid. And this liquid that's left over is buttermilk. Don't throw it away. It's good for making pancakes. And then what's left in the bottom of my jar is some nice yellow butter. It'll be good on your toast or wherever you want to put it. Share it with your family. It's going to take a little bit of effort and some patience to keep shaking past the point where it becomes whipped cream and then it becomes butter. You might want to take turns with some people in your family, but enjoy your homemade butter, and we'll see you next time.